All right, you want to talk about Galaxy a little bit, like where
Heck
the
yeah.
inspirations came from?
Yeah, I've always wanted to do a spaceship game. I grew up playing, asteroids, and talking about Solar Jetman earlier with Jeff. Just love that kind of physics-based gameplay. I really like my favorite games tend to be like the really kind of physicsy things. Like I love Wave Race. I love the Skate series by EA. Stuff where you can kind of get like your abilities don't necessarily progress. I mean, our game does, but the idea that you can just get really good at controlling it. A really simple play control, and I just love sort of old anime. I mean, Skulls of Shogun was largely based on sort of older 60s anime. With this one, I wanted to do the space classic sci-fi anime, the Macross, Robotech, Star Blazers. It's like looking at the game through the lens of a classic 16-bit shooter. So it's a side-scrolling shooter, shooting little dudes with lasers, pew pew pew. But if you kind of get under the hood a little bit, like it's very modern. Like we're using these huge hand-drawn particle systems, so the explosions and stuff look like a classic cartoon. I mean, we really want it to look like an old anime. So we've got some toon shading on it, hand-painted backgrounds. We've got some cool normal map kind of tricks that we're doing, so that the lights, the explosion stuff will actually light up and like cast off the rocks and stuff like that. And the AI is very deep. The inspiration originally came from basically like something like Halo in 2D. So the same kind of tactical combat, and let your shields recharge, and the squad tactics of the enemies. They're trying to flank you, and they're calling for backup, and they're aware of their own physicality. They're not just rushing you and trying to kill you. They're actually trying to take some cover and let their shields recharge and stuff like that, and covering each other. So it's this very tactical, space-based dogfighting combat, which I've never seen a game like it. It's fairly open world. It's kind of like there's big levels that are like a planet. Imagine something like Super Metroid, where you go into these caves and there's these levels that are kind of hand designed, and then surrounding that there's these huge asteroid fields in like deep space. It's all procedurally generated. So it's sort of micro missions. I kind of relate it to like Red Dead Redemption, where you've got like towns and you've got these specific mission points that you'll go to and kick off a mission. But in the meantime, you can just explore, and you'll come across random, little kind of mini missions, and the whole world feels very alive, and you can just play around out there and have a great time for a long time. You can fly from planet to planet, and then each system is kind of like a self-contained system that you can basically fly around that whole system. There'll be a couple levels in that, and then you'll like get your main ship powered up enough to make a warp and jump to another system. There's big, scary dudes out there that you really shouldn't deal with until you're more powered up later. They kind of patrol the perimeter of the asteroid fields, so you got to watch out for them. But taking them on leads to huge rewards and riches and glory and all these things. So I compare it to Super Metroid a lot.
Okay.
Like you start off with some health, some weapons, but you'll get better weapons, you'll get more health packs, you get better shields, you get better abilities. You kind of like ramp up. You'll do customization stuff with the colors and kind of what things look like, what kind of weapons you prefer. You'll choose your loadout before you go out for missions. To me, player agency is a very key thing we throw around at the office a lot. Like letting the player choose kind of what kind of the mood they're in. I mean, like Red Dead Redemption. You can say, I'm going to go do these heavy combat missions, and I want to be totally story driven for all this experience, or I want to just go screw off over here, go exploring, see what's over that ridge, see if I can find some cool stuff over there. I played a lot of Fallout 3, I love that. That same sort of thing where you can kind of pace yourself. You can say, I'm going to go out and play, or I'm going to go do like a heavy story-based mission, and kind of leaving that open. The game started off kind of, it's more early 80s sci-fi now is kind of the visual aesthetic target, but it started off kind of more late 70s stuff, and I love the cheesy late 70s anime. There's like the Daitarn 3 and Combattler V. So I wanted to do something. And I wanted to use the word galaxy, but I didn't want it to be like Galaxy Rangers or Galaxy Warriors or something that's just like kind of forgettable. Yeah. So I just was over and over, and then one day in the shower, I was just like, Galak Z. He's like, oh man, yeah, Daitarn 3, Galak Z, Combattler V, it totally fits. And of course the Canadians are making fun of me calling it Galak Z, and same with the Brits, but they're wrong, it's Galak Z. I mean, it'll be campy, it'll probably be a little bit more grounded than Skulls of Shogun. Skulls of Shogun is pretty outrageous, pretty ridiculous, which is great. I mean, I love that stuff, and I think we'll probably bring some of that stuff in. But I mean, it's kind of high sci-fi, melodramatic, kind of early 80s science fiction anime inspired. So I mean, we'll be playing with those tropes, but it's a little bit more down to earth.
Okay.
Like I knew I wanted to do this next for a long time, and just been sort of keeping ideas and stuff, and kind of building up sketchbooks, and whenever I'd find cool stuff online, I'd throw in a folder and kind of been slowly baking for a long time on the back burner. We almost went on with another one, which we'll do next. This one has been, actually on paper, like it was pretty thought out before I actually hired on the programming staff and stuff to start it up. I'm the lead. I lead everything. I mean, I don't do any engineering. I'm really bad with computers. I almost can't be left alone with them. But I'm the lead. I'm the creator. I design the game, design the world, design most of the enemy types and all that stuff. I do the art for them, at least on the concept art level. I have a 3D modeler / animator who does the actual modeling of the 3D stuff. I was a concept artist for years. I'll design the look of everything, do all the hand-drawn art. So I'll design the characters. I design what the ships look like. I design the backgrounds. I design all the background art and kind of art direct all the explosions and all that stuff. I bring in reference and I talk to the guys about that. I mean, I really just run around all day leading. So all the creative and all the art and the CEO stuff.
It just sounds like an 18-hour day.
It is. And I'm still directing Skulls of the Shogun. We're about to launch on Steam at the end of this month.
Oh, okay.
And I've got 2 little kids at home too, so life is crazy these days. We just hired our 8th full-time guy. He'll start at the end of the month. I think we're going to stay under 10, I think, full-time. We've got a couple contractors on the side we use for bits and pieces. It feels quite big after 3-man, after a 3-man operation. And this feels like a big operation. I mean, I've worked on teams as big as like 60 people or something, but that's just a whole other. I mean, AAA stuff, like those are real budgets. Like we're like a tiny little scrappy thing.
Yeah.
This is as big as I want to get for the kind of stuff we like to do. I'm really excited about the PlayStation 4, and I wanted to reach out to them and see how they felt about the game. And I flew down there and showed it to them, and they were like, "This is great. We should do this." So the deal's not signed yet. We're just in negotiations, but we've agreed to do something together, and we're super excited about it. We've got kits, and we're moving on it. Very much in love with the PlayStation 4, so. They give feedback. I mean, they've got some big picture stuff that they want to see standardized with the next generation of gaming, the video sharing and the kind of the stuff that they're talking about. They're encouraging us to, incorporate some of that stuff and think sort of next gen with like how this persistent world can stay alive and, giving us some really cool ideas that we would like to address. There's so much we've all learned through the Skulls of the Shogun process, and we're hoping to take that 4-year Skulls dev cycle and turned it into about half of that. So that's what we're shooting for. And so far we're on track. We've got a bigger team, we've got off-the-shelf tools, we're using Unity, which we love. Just got a great team with all the key roles filled up, and we're just pushing forward really fast right now, having a great time.